Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. We are out here with the redemption run of the team associated rb10, and differences this time being is the active vehicle control. As you can see, I turned it completely off. After this run, we'll see if maybe it needs to be dialed in just a little bit. But yeah, I'm running the same 2S pack that I did for its first track run. I've got the stock wheels and tires back on it, so we're just going to see by turning that active vehicle control off if this will post better times or not. And because this is a redemption run, the first one that we've done here at Hill Raceway, I'm not going to set up multiple cameras to get the different action shots. I'm just going to run it here on the track, then we'll go back and look at the leaderboard to see what the times are. So with that being said, I've got the Insta360 mounted to my hat. It should make driving easier because typically I've got the 360 mounted to the car. I've got the camera phone over there sitting on the track, and then I'm holding the GoPro in the same hand that I hold the transmitter in, which can make driving a little bit trickier as you're trying to keep the action in shot and drive the car. So freeing up my hands, you know, looking ahead to next year, maybe this is the way I'll need to go. But that's about it. I also figured, why not a little bit of history here of the Hill Raceway property. I've got this raked out, and I don't know through the camera if you'll be able to tell, but there are still just a ton of stones here in the dirt infield section. I rake this out every time before I run a race. And so a little history. Actually, my property here years ago, going back to maybe, I don't know, 2012, I think, somewhere in that area, right about here, maybe, yeah, right about here, you run a straight line down the road, and behind me, back in 2012, everything to my right was a gully. This all dropped down. This line right about here was all a tree and bush line. So what happened is that I have all this yard here where it used to just be a drop-off like it is over there. Around that time, around 2011 or so, the neighbor bought the house next door, which included all this property. He bought that as a rental house. And over here at that barn, there used to be two silos stacked up. Two tall silos right there. He had come to me and said, hey, if you allow me to knock those silos down, drop them, and throw them over here in your gully, he said the town that summer is digging ditches all summer long. Once I get those dropped down, I'll throw all the broken up pieces of the silo over here, then I'll have the town bring in all the fill from digging ditches. I'll have them drop it off here, I'll smooth it out with a dozer, and I'll plant grass seed and just make you a bigger yard if that sounds like a good deal to you. Well, heck yeah, gives me a lot more room to run. And actually right there is the neighbor in question. Hey Bobby! And in actuality, we had two really big locust trees out here in this front yard too. They were huge. They were nice trees, but they were old, and we were scared that they were going to fall on top of the house at some point. So in addition to knocking the silos down, Bob took the trees down for us, dragged them over here. So yeah, all of this used to be a drop-off. So where I was getting to with this, you know, the very rocky dirt that I have, because this whole area, it really isn't natural. This is all just town fill from digging ditches. So a little back history on Hill Raceway. Now I'll shut up, we'll get to the run, and I'll bring that to you with the time lapse. I'll meet you back inside at the leaderboard to see how it went. Alright guys, the redemption run of the RB10 is complete, and here is a look at its new times. We see that it finished with the fastest lap there of 11.74 seconds and an average of 13.08. Both of those times better than its initial run. Quick driving thoughts on the car. Number one, I forgot to mention it earlier, I did loosen up the slipper clutch a little bit before this run, hoping that it would help. The car did drive better. Turning that active vehicle control off, the biggest difference that I noticed that it helped was in the air on the jumps. With that active vehicle control on before taking it off the jump, in the air, those front tires were just going left and right constantly, which would cause the landing to be rather haphazard, which I think helped lend it to some pretty poor lap times. The tires on this car still hold it back. Those tires are not for my surface out there. I would assume that those tires are best for groomed clay tracks. So while the times are better, it's nothing that's going to challenge anyways. But we see if we do post the new times, it would slide into 6th place where that little line is off to the right. It would take over 6th place from the Traxxas 116th Summit. To me, the car was still stock. I just turned the active vehicle control off. So in my mind, I'm thinking we would post the new time up there. But I'll leave that to you guys in the comments. Let me know what you think we should do. Should we stick with that original 12.40, or should we put the 11.74 up there? Funny, because initially I wasn't even going to run this car today. I was going to do a first run / track run of that right there, the Duratrax VW Baja Bug. Since finishing that project, I still have not run it, so I thought today would be the day to get it out on the track. Not that I think it would challenge, but I think it would be fun. I took it up off there and put it down here on the bench, and both rear shocks are leaking. So back up there it goes. I'd still like to do a first run of that car video before winter, but I don't think we're going to see a track run of it this year. Got a lot of other stuff I want to do. I've got builds I want to start, and you know, as far as the ready to run division, guys, that might be it, unless you want to see 4x4 VXL Traxxas Slash that I picked up in a trade. Just kind of been on the fence whether or not I was going to run that out at the track this year or not. But other than that, yeah, Wednesday we'll be uploading that guy right there. It's the first run and track run of the Tamiya Frog. Sitting next to it up there is the Expert Built Racing Fighter. If I can get some electronics in that, we'll give that a track run this year. And yeah, that guy right there, last year's champion. We got to get that torque tune motor put in the St. Dragon for its run to see if it can top the Javelin's time and remain champion again this year. It'll be interesting in the coming weeks to see how that fares out. So yeah, guys, that's going to do it for this one. As always, thanks for taking some time out of your day to check out my videos. And until next time, everybody stay safe. We'll see you around.